Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest is the editor-in-chief of Digital Muscle. Of course, you know him probably better as a Hall of Fame bodybuilder, competed in the Olympia, Mr. Olympia many times, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Please welcome Shawn Ray. How are you, Shawn?
What's going on, Ronline?
Yeah, Ronline Report. McGuff came up with that.
Well, I'm coming to you live from my backyard.
Yeah, usually you're at like a beach club where people are serving you drinks and,
Yeah, well, the
buffing
irony of it is, the irony of today is I actually came back from the gym. I started back on June the 1st. I'm doing a little body transformation for some of my people on my social media, and I figured I'd do it with them. However, it's more functional training. I'm not trying to look a certain way, or I just wanted to get active. I took a long time off. I think my last workout was right before we shut down the country, before I left to Columbus, Ohio.
Wow.
And during COVID, I decided just to relax, and I took the whole 3 months off, and I started back June 1st. And it feels good to get up and be mobile and be active again. I'm training at my buddy's personal training gym. My gym closed. I was at 24-hour, and it's not coming back.
Oh wow. Huh.
So it feels good. I'm doing some exercise, and I'm walking a lot. So that's why I actually just came from the gym, believe it or not. I don't look like it, but I did.
Well, so now you're going to have to hear all your fans saying, come back, come back, come back.
No, I think they're going to have to get used to the idea that at some point there's a switch that goes off in all of our heads that, being healthy has its advantages that don't have anything really to do with the external. I think I'm beyond that. It's kind of in my rear view. I feel good exercising. I feel good not pushing the pedal to the metal. And I don't have any aches and pains. I don't have any injuries. And just being able to get up and be active feels good. And that's in a variety of ways. I really do relate to what Dorian Yates has done. I don't think I can go to his extreme where I just give it all away and shrink up to, I don't think Dorian's probably 175 pounds, but he's running, he's cycling, he's riding horses, and I'm there with him. I'm just, I got about 10 extra pounds to drop because I like to eat. I don't make any mistake about exercising to, calories in, calories out, but it's good to be active again. COVID really did a number on a lot of people and just took away that, you miss the gym after a while.
Yeah. Now gyms in California, they've been open for about a month now.
I'm not sure. My friend has a personal training gym. He never closed down. So with his gym being one-on-one, it was just a matter of me deciding to actually go and use it. And I've been friends with this guy for 35 years, and he's had his gym for 25. And finally, I'm making good utility of it.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah, feels good.
Well, so you're part of digital. You're a big part of Digital Muscle. Obviously, you're the editor-in-chief. So that's still owned by Jake Wood, correct?
Absolutely. Jake runs that. He also is the owner of Muscle and Fitness Online. He's also the owner of Flex Online. And of course, we have our social media component, which is a YouTube channel, Digital Muscle TV. We also have an Instagram account, and there's a lot of different moving parts with the Wings of Strength component as well.
Yeah. So you definitely have the inside scoop, so to say, as to what's going on with the Olympia planning and all that. So I know it's almost 6 months away still, but that's our Super Bowl. That's what we're always talking about. And as soon as one Olympia is over, we start talking about the next one. So I want to go over some things that I want to know if you know the answers to. And the first one is, I know they just announced masks are mandatory in Nevada for everyone. So would that apply all of us going to the Olympia? Would competitors be wearing masks? What do you know about the mask situation?
We are so far from December that what's happening here in June may not even apply by the time we get to August. This is it's a moving curve we're dealing with this virus. What they were telling us in March, it changed in April, it changed in May, and it's peaking again as stores and gyms and things open up and life tries to resume normalcy. So I'm not a guy that's going to be able to predict what's happening in December. I'm more concerned about the NFL football coming back this August. And then the trickle down effect, because you have college football, you have high school football, and these concerts and these venues. Every state, it seems, has a different policy: wear the mask, don't wear the mask. But with the Olympia being that far off, I don't think right now we can even plan around it. All we can do right now, Ron, is as an organization, is plan that everything's going to be fine by the time December gets here, and if it is, we slide right into our new roles at the new venue, at the Sands Convention Center, at the Planet Hollywood, inside of the um, the Zappos Theater. Now, what's Plan B? I mean, Plan B is to kind of watch what the rest of the world and the country and specifically the state of Nevada does.
Yeah.
Watching what happens right now in Nevada in the month of June is going to be vastly different by the time December rolls around. So we're not planning for the worst. We're going, it's full, all systems go. How do you plan for the biggest event of the year? Planning for the worst. I mean, Jake is all in. I think the athletes are right now finding a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And we got to assume that by the time we get to December, that all these other events happening before then, we'll figure it all out and we'll just follow suit.
Yeah. See, I'm not too worried about the Olympia because, as you said, it is very far away. It's not close. We got a lot of time between now and December, and it's the end of December. I mean, I think they were very, very wise in putting the Olympia as far to the end of the calendar as possible. Gives us the best chance of the best outcome with the virus situation. I'm a little concerned about the contest season that's supposed to be starting in 5 weeks in Tampa.
Actually, it's going to start July 18th in Nebraska. I'll be at the mic. Yeah. Omaha
okay.
Pro.
So what do you hear about that? Do they have sporting events there?
Yeah, Jack Titoni is putting that show on in Nebraska. Nebraska's rules and regulations are different than Nevada, right? And we see the curve has come down a lot in New York, and it's spiking in Florida and California. With this show being, a month away or 3 weeks away, it'll give us a good indicator of what's going to happen by the time we do get to Tampa with Tim Gardner's show, because Tampa's on the rise. Texas is on the rise with the COVID thing. So it's like water, man. It's moving, and I don't think right now Nebraska's even on the radar for a lot of the restrictions that we have going on around the rest of the nation. So I think right now we put all eyes on this show, the Omaha Pro, July the 18th, to see what restrictions Jack has to face with, is dealing with. But I just watched the vice president say today that literally it's up to the governors of each state, and every state's going to have different rules. So it's one of those things where we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, Trump just earlier this week suspended foreign work visas for people from every country, basically. There's going to be exceptions, and I'm just wondering, are these athletes from all, international competitors make up a huge percentage of our pro shows, and some of the very best competitors we have in the IPB Pro League are from Europe, from Asia, from the Middle East, from all over the world. And right now, you can't come into the U.S. if you've been in China, Iran, Brazil, and all of Europe. Special exceptions I'm sure can be made. Do you know, or can you speculate as far as professional athletes? Can they apply for some sort of exemption from that?
Well, again, we're 6 months away from where we're trying to get to, and this whole thing can blow over in the next month. It could blow over in the next 3 months. By the time we get to September, I think we kind of revisit where we're at. Like the original date of the Olympia would be a nice time to then look ahead to see where we're at. That means we've got to get through the entire month of July. We've got to get through the entire month of August and halfway through September to then reevaluate where we're at, what happened with these other shows. We have a full lineup of athletes that are already qualified for this year, so there's no shortage of athletes participating. Again, the operative word is, can they get in and out of the country? I mean, there's some countries right now in the EU talking about Americans can't come there without being quarantined. Yeah. So until we get a hold of this thing, we're going to it's like beating a dead horse in terms of what's going to happen and when. We don't know. This is a very fast moving virus. Different people are being affected differently. I still don't know a single solitary soul that has been diagnosed in my wheelhouse with COVID-19. Wow. I don't know anyone that's died personally. And I'm sure there's several athletes out there that have probably had it and didn't realize that they've had it. So with this thing being so severe and so well talked about, it hasn't come to the bodybuilding world directly just yet to where we can actually see someone go through this and come out on the other side. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, don't get me wrong, but I do think this is a virus that's attacking the elderly, people that are predisposed with pre-existing conditions. This is information we all know. So I attribute bodybuilding and a healthy lifestyle to our industry not getting hit with this thing, and we're not hearing athlete after athlete after athlete going down. And listen, Ron, I don't want to hear from you every time you get sick, right? And you're not going to hear from me every time I get sick.
Yeah.
So if my temperature is 101 here, I can't even go in a restaurant. Um, and then if I'm diagnosed and I'm asymptomatic, I might not even feel sick. So we're tracking this illness. Um, but I'm more concerned about the death rate. When I look at the death rate, it's really hitting the elderly and preconditioned people. It's not hitting the healthy. So there is a stronger survival rate than there is a death rate, which is why I think this thing's getting too much publicity. It really is scaring a lot of people, and stress is one of the number one killers.
Yeah, and diabetes, we got to put it out there. That seems to be the number one risk factor for death from COVID. It's funny you say that a lot of us probably had it because at that Arnold weekend back in March, which was the tipping point for that weekend, was really everything was kind of before and after that weekend in terms of the response to the virus and the panic situation and things being shut down. Nothing was shut down before that, and then right after that, it was
Correct.
like an avalanche. I personally believe a lot of us who were at the Arnold contracted the coronavirus, and a
Yeah.
lot of us probably never even knew we had it. I had a bad cold when I came back from the Arnold for about a week or two, stuffed up. I think I was a little coughing. I haven't been tested, but I'm thinking maybe I had coronavirus, the COVID, didn't even know it. Maybe a lot of us that were at the Arnold had it.
Well,
But
I
we're
mean, and listen, it's a cesspool for catching something in Columbus, Ohio. Let's be honest. I didn't catch anything. I was at the mic for 4 days. I was backstage with the athletes. I was eating in restaurants. I was on an airplane. I was in a hotel. I was in the hotel bar. I mean, we were all exposed. But a lot of people get sick that weekend, every single year. And
regardless,
again,
yeah.
that was my 32nd year attending that show.
Hmm.
And out of the 32 years I've been there, I've been sick once. So I was expecting something to happen, and nothing did. That's not to say that it's not out there, but it's not a killer the way that the media is making it sound. I don't know why we're tracking all the people that are testing positive, because at the end of the day, they're not going back and they're not telling us all of the people that are recovering from this sickness.
Hmm.
I don't want to hear about everybody getting sick. I mean, what's now, look, we're all probably going to wind up catching this thing. So why are we making a mountain out of a molehill? I know that we need to protect our elderly. We need to be careful with our youth, and we have to be responsible. And being responsible means, whatever protocols they're telling us to adhere by, that's what we need to do. But I tell you, Ron, I don't travel when I'm sick. I don't
Hmm.
want to go to the gym, and I don't want to eat out, and I really don't want to be around people. To me, that's common sense.
Sure.
We're in this germaphobe thing where we're around all these people. I'm washing my hands all the time because I'm shaking hands and I'm meeting people.
Hmm.
No one has to tell me to do that. As far as the mask, it's a personal choice. Like, I wear the mask because I don't want you to give me whatever you got, and I don't want to give you. But that's my personal preference. A lot of people don't. They think the mask is some kind of, it's infringing upon their rights,
Yeah.
and I think that's really, and they're politicizing that.
Yeah, this has really become a Republican Democrat battle rather than, trying to keep a nation healthy and
Yeah.
prevent death. It's sad that partisan lines have sort of revealed their true colors. But we the one thing I'm concerned with any of these shows, if we're going to have social distancing, is something that we might have to practice for some time until we're all vaccinated, which begs the
Well, when you say
question.
vaccinated, Ron, I got to tell you, I'm not
Yeah,
getting a vaccine. I've never
well,
had one in my life. I think I got vaccinated for polio, but I'm not.
wow.
I'm not taking a shot to stop me from catching one. I'd rather take
Oh,
my chances catching something and recovering, because I've recovered from every other thing I've ever had in my life.
mm,
I'm not. This is not a death sentence. If you catch COVID-19, you don't. It's not an automatic death sentence. So I don't want some preventative shot. I'd rather catch it and let my immune system do what it's designed to do. But I'm not going to buy into the vaccine thing. That's not me.
and there's no way they could make a vaccine mandatory for adults, correct?
No, but if they start tying it to your driver's license and your passport and
Mm,
all these other things, your registration on your car,
mm.
there's ways to make it really hard for you not to do it. But I mean, we're not there. And I think America's stronger than that to allow it to happen, because now we start seeing some really crazy shit, people doing it for financial gain, and, who's in bed with who, Bill Gates and the people that are making the product. And,
Yeah.
I don't want to, I'm not that guy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it'll be very hard for me to get a vaccine that I don't want.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see. I don't know if it's even possible to make something like that mandatory. Not with our type of government.
Yeah.
Maybe in some
I listen.
totalitarian regime they could do it, but not here.
Look, I mean, listen. I mean, I welcome it. I mean, we get sick. It's normal, but I'm healthy. I'm one of those guys that could probably fight it off and get healthier faster than others. We watched Tom Hanks and his wife get it over in Australia, and that was big news in the beginning. And Chris Cuomo on CNN, we watched him on television go through the whole thing, and his family got it, and he's normal. So it's like, where's the fear? Like, look, I'm not afraid to get sick. It happens, but I'm not going to get a vaccine that could make me worse. I might have a bad reaction to some shot that they give me, and then we have some legalities. That's why I don't think it's going to become mandatory.
Mm. Yeah, because that I don't know what the policy is going to be like in Nevada for social distancing by December. No one does. It's too early to say. But an expo situation, and even sitting in the theater, I don't know how that's going to work. Would they stagger seats? Because how do you keep people? Right now they're saying 6 feet. Maybe they're going to cut that down to 3 feet or something. But still, it'd be very, very hard to try to scatter
Listen,
people 3 feet apart
Ron,
in a theater.
I've already been on the airplane several times. I've gone to the Olympia headquarters. We got a new show called Monday Night Muscle, myself and Bob Chick, and it's all about bodybuilding. We have
Nice.
another one called Fem Flex Friday with the ladies of Wings of Strength, and we're filming those right now. We actually go next week, and we're taping them and editing them all together. You can't social distance on an airplane. It's impossible to social distance on an airplane.
You could have one person per aisle or something.
Yeah, but they don't. But they don't. No, I've
Oh.
been on the plane. That's not happening.
Hmm.
And so here I am. I'm fine. I'm healthy. You know what I mean? Nothing's hit me. Is that to say I won't get it? Well, no. But if I get sick, again, it's not headline news. Eat right. Take your vitamins. Exercise. That's the best measure of prevention, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of any ailments. That's why I love this sport of bodybuilding.
Okay, enough virus talk. We're all sick of talking about it. Let's talk fanboy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Three men that I desperately want to see on stage at the Olympia this year, and I want to know what you think the probability. Yeah, you know who I'm going to ask about. First of all, Phil Heath, 7-time champion. What are the odds in your eyes we're going to see him back this year for 8?
Phil hasn't hinted around on any level that he has any interest in coming back. I would imagine, because he's got a direct line of communication with the promoter, Dan Solomon, that call would have happened by now, because we are 6 months away.
Yeah.
I don't believe on any measure that Dan would tell Phil in the month of November, you're not welcome in the Mr. Olympia if Phil decides to do it, but we'll visibly be able to see if he's working towards that end, right? Yeah. So why would you want to try to sneak into a show where you're trying to make history, competing against all the known players and missing out on all of that free advertising going into the show? So it would be a very bad strategic move for Phil Heath if he's planning to make a comeback and doesn't make that announcement by the time we get through the month of July. I don't think people want to spend time talking about Phil Heath, and he hasn't been there for the past 3 years. So 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that brings us to our next guy, who every year he either has a special invitation, or we all want Kai Greene back. Let's face it, he was amazing. In those 3 years he took second to Phil were some of the most exciting battles we ever seen on the Olympia stage. Physically, he still looks ready to go. He hasn't lost anything, and he's got to be about 45 now at least.
A minimum, yeah.
Yeah, and you see he posts pictures and videos constantly. He's in fantastic shape. He always looks like he could get back to the Olympia stage. And every year he hints and makes these vague philosophical kind of remarks, and we all get excited. Well, maybe you don't get excited anymore. Maybe he's the boy who cried wolf too many times. You don't listen anymore. But why would, especially like last year when there was no Phil, there was no Shawn, why would he not want the Olympia title? That's something. Is he beyond it, you think? I'm asking you to go inside the mind of Kai Greene.
Nobody can get in the mind of Kai Greene, but I can tell you, the further away you get from that stage, the harder it is to get back. Okay, it's like being caught in a riptide. Even if you have the desire to get back, the things you have to do to get there are a lot more dramatic than just eat, sleeping, and training. The sacrifice in the everyday life that you give up. I've always said it's like war. Like if you come out of high school, you join the military, and you go to war, you have nothing to compare it against. And if you just keep fighting one war after another without taking a break and becoming civilized, it's easy. You become this machine. But when you come home to family, friends, and fame, and then you get called back up, you start measuring the costs
Mm.
of risk to reward. Um, I'm not at war. I'm healthy and I'm alive. I have these opportunities. I have these people relying upon me. I have these various projects, and we can see his projects. We see him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Kai's everywhere. Kai looks like he's living the life after retirement. So to go back to war, Kai has to give all that stuff up, especially if he's planning on winning,
Yeah.
because he's still training against guys that are doing the business and they didn't take a break. And we all look great by ourselves. Listen, Victor Richards should have been Mr. Olympia when he walked around Gold's Gym. Why wouldn't Big Ramy have an Olympia title, or even Nasser for that matter? When you see these guys in the gym alone,
Right.
it's phenomenal. So Kai Greene looks like Mr. Olympia when I see these videos and these skits that he's putting out.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look like a guy that's training and getting ready to go to war. And until we see that from him, it's hard to believe that he'll be coming back. Do you realize the last year he was on the Mr. Olympia stage was 2014?
14. Wow.
That's 6 years ago. And we're still talking about Kai Greene. He's really not in the conversation until he comes out and says, look, I'm back. And until that happens, I really don't want to take away the time of promoting the guys that are really doing the business, because if we're going to talk about Kai, why don't we start talking about some of these other guys? Well, where's Branch Warren in that? Where's Jake Cutler? The ship has sailed, and Kai's on the clock. He's the boy who cried wolf, and he's never been the guy to say, I'm back. He's had all these opportunities. Of course, last year was the best opportunity.
Yes.
This year looks like even a better one, because there's people that he may not have to face because of circumstance.
Right.
So to him, looking at his Instagram and looking how phenomenal he is. Remember, he's by himself.
Yeah.
The lighting favors you. Working out hard in the gym by yourself. We're going on our history of what he used to look like, but what he looks like now is not the way you're supposed to look on an Olympia stage in December. So I'm not getting too excited about Kai Greene coming back, but that door's still open until September. I think for Phil and Kai, when September comes, if we haven't heard anything, we shouldn't talk about them.
Out of the two, who do you think is more likely to return to the Olympia this year?
Out of the two, I would put more money on Kai Greene coming back.
Wow.
Because Kai Greene still looks like he's, doing the business. When you look at Kai, he doesn't look like he's taking a day off, let alone 6 years.
Right.
And while the Olympia was 6 years ago, in 2014, his last foray on the bodybuilding stage was 2016 when he ran the trifecta. He won the Arnold Classic over in Ohio. He won the Arnold Classic over in Brazil, and he won the Arnold Classic twice in Brazil.
Yep.
So with Phil, we haven't seen, or heard anything. He does a few workouts on video, but he doesn't look like a man that's training for the Olympia, whereas Kai Greene still looks like he's doing the business, just not full speed.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that concerns me with Kai is because he has so many other things going on, so many projects. He just came out with his variety skit show. It was hilarious.
Well, yeah, it's fake.
I just don't know if he'd want to give that. He would have to give that up for a minimum of 3 months, maybe more like 4 months, 12 to 16 weeks. He's just going to have to, go into the trenches and train for the Olympia. And
but I
you
think
can't be doing your shows or any of that stuff.
The best component for that show is to prepare for the competition and have the camera follow that journey. Whereas Phil Heath, who's got 7 Olympia titles, fat off the hog, at some point you've got to start taking evaluation. Like, if I was ever going to come back, it would literally have to be this year. It's a do or die for Phil. But maybe financially it's not there. Maybe psychologically it's not there. But these are two athletes that I don't want to give too much credit, because there's so many people actually doing the business. So those are both what ifs. Who was the third we were talking about?
Shawn Rhoden, of course. I mean,
Shawn Rhoden's situation is frozen in time until his case is solved, until we have a verdict if he's guilty or not guilty. The Olympia is not in his future, and that's a federational move. I think it's a smart play, because you're talking about a person's life hanging in the balance. A lot of those court dates were pushed back because of the COVID and taking longer through the judicial system. But there will come a day where Shawn will either be vindicated or convicted. And with that cloud hanging over him, that's not something you want to bring into an Olympia lineup, into Olympia family. I mean, let's say he went in the show and he won it.
Yeah.
in December, and in January he's convicted.
Mm.
Um, it undermines it undermines the entire integrity of the Olympia. So the federation can't afford it. The Olympia doesn't want that on their hands. When Shawn's legal business is done, I'm sure the IFBB would welcome him back along with the Olympia. But until then, there's really nothing to talk about there.
Yeah. I mean, I had texted his attorney a few weeks back, a couple months ago, saying, "What's going on?" He said, "There's nothing going on.
Yeah,
It's
with a lot of
literally in
cases,
legal limbo." Which,
it's legal limbo. Yeah,
I mean, maybe it's gonna. Maybe I'm pure idle speculation here, but maybe it's just gonna all go away. I mean,
no. This
no?
this is not going away, and I have that on very good authority. The victim in this situation is like a dog on a bone. She's not letting this go away. There's no settlement in the future. She wants justice, and this is something that we're going to be talking about maybe in 2021 with some resolution when life gets back to normal. But there's going to be closure one way or the other. I have
Yeah.
that on good. I have that on very good authority.
Because once again, Shawn has announced he's training for the Olympia, but of
Well, why
course,
wouldn't he? I
why
mean,
wouldn't
listen.
he? Yeah.
I mean, this is what he does, right? But to what end? Like, if I'm in Shawn's shoes, I would be applying that energy somewhere else that's going to make money because you're training for a show that you're not welcome at until you have a resolution. So you're training, so you're putting your body on display to make money, or you're training others to share your information and make money. You gotta feed your kids. You gotta keep a roof over your head.
Mm.
Or he's a bodybuilding promoter. Maybe there's some things, and the Olympia aligns with all of that. But I don't think I would invest my time and energy in all the things that you need to get ready to do a contest, knowing I'm not going to compete. Hadi Chupin got away with that. He got the visa at the last minute. He showed up and he was ready, and he financially got compensated. I mean, he got $100,000. That's not bad, but being sponsored basically by his country, he probably turned that into $1 million over there in Iran. Whereas that's not the case with Shawn Rhoden.
Mm.
So if I'm him, I mean, I'm actually looking to secure my future by promoting the fact that I'm Mr. Olympia rather than trying to get ready for a competition.
Mm.
It's my 2 cents.
Fair enough. And I mean, I feel bad in a way for Brandon Curry because he's the Olympia champ, and I feel like he doesn't get the recognition and respect he really should be getting because people are focusing on these other guys who we might never see again. Who knows if we'll ever see Kai on stage again? We might never see Phil Heath on stage again. Shawn Rhoden, hopefully we'll see him on again. But meanwhile, Brandon's training every day. He's out there being the ambassador for the Mr. Olympia title, and in the back of his mind, he must be like, "What about me? Why are you guys always talking about?"
No, I can
these
tell
other
you right
guys?"
now, that's not Brandon Curry. If you know Brandon Curry, he's not listening to people talk about Phil and Kai because these are people that are mythical figures that opened the door for him. He lost many times. I interviewed him. He actually would welcome one or both of them back so he could try to validate his position.
Right.
Ali needed Joe Frazier to come out and fight for the title. He needed George Foreman to come back and try to give him an opportunity to fight. Brandon Curry needs one or both of those guys to validate his position.
Yeah.
And he threw the gauntlet down saying, hey, look, for many years when I competed against Phil, I wasn't ready and it was his time. What would bring out the best in me is if Phil was there. Brandon is a victim of COVID-19 because all the things that he had scheduled for 2020 were paused, just like a lot of other contest promoters, bodybuilders, putting on guest posing appearances, being able to travel the world. All that stuff got paused, and he turned around and he wound up putting it into some gyms that he's opening. I know he just opened one like last week, I think.
Carbon Culture USA in Franklin, Tennessee was location number 1, and he's opening his second location in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is
another one. A third one was Steve Kuklo in Dallas, Texas, I believe it is.
Yeah.
But so he's staying busy, and that takes a lot of time. And he also has the advantage of being home with his kids for the first time since he's really been hardcore. Remember, this is a guy that's won 3 Arnold Classics and an Olympia title and has been on the grind for the past 3 or 4 years of his life. So to not be over in Kuwait from basically January to June was probably a welcome in his family's household. And so he sacrificed traveling the world and promoting the Olympia title for family time. And there's not a lot of Mr. Olympias that probably have that opportunity. So while it's a double-edged sword, he's now home and he's he has the advantage of the extra time getting ready for the Olympia. But I don't think he's out of the conversation. He's represented the title well. He's shown up and he's done the things we expect of an Olympia champion. There's no controversy about him winning the title,
Right,
and people now know him as Mr. Olympia. Is it a slippery title? Yeah, but it's all hypothetical when you start talking about these mythical guys that no longer compete. Phil Heath is a myth. Kai Greene is a myth as far as he's concerned. So let's talk about the ones that are competing. And when you do, he's beat them all.
Yeah.
So I give him his props, man. I mean, he's Mr. Olympia. There's no controversy about that.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, it was fair and square.
Yeah.
Bonac, Hottie, he was definitely the best man on stage that day. No, there was no argument. I didn't hear.
And he believes it. So when you spend time with someone like that, which I did last week, hearing him talk, he's fallen into that role very comfortably. For some people, they can't believe I won. I can't believe I beat so and so. No, he owns the fact that he beat William Bonac and he beat Dexter Jackson. He feels he can do it again. As a matter of fact, he wants these other athletes so he can solidify his place, and it would, because we don't know how Phil recovered from his abdominal surgery. We don't know that Kai Greene doesn't come in too heavy because he hasn't had to dial it in for the past 4 years of his life. We don't know that, Hollywood, with all the things Kai's doing, has softened him up, not made him as hungry. I can tell you what, Brandon says he's more hungry defending the title than he is when he actually won the title. So we could see a new and improved Brandon Curry, which would definitely make things interesting, because he knows that James Flex Lewis is coming, and he's not playing games. And Flex Lewis is legit and could potentially beat Brandon Curry. And people have been waiting for him to arrive. And he's at that age, he's at that maturity level, and he's had that time to train in a way that he's been preparing for this opportunity. And I won't be surprised to see Flex Lewis standing there in the final three, fighting for that title. And Brandon Curry is well aware of the strengths that Flex Lewis brings, the pedigree that he has, the calves, the quads, the arms. But he also is aware of his shortcomings. Flex is a little bit flat in the pec area. He's kind of long in the torso area.
Yeah.
But when they turn around in the back, Flex has those glutes. He's got those hamstrings, and he has those calves. And Brandon, those are his weakness. So he could make it very interesting at this year's Mr. Olympia lineup for a lot of guys, including William Bonac.
Yeah. Now, I hope this doesn't happen, but I worry about these pro shows being Americans only competing if we can't get these people in from other countries.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that if I'm in another country, I'm trying to get here early. And including Hadi Chupin, who waited till the 11th hour last year and he came in third. I can imagine the stress he had trying to get into the country. But I would be trying to do everything I can to get here early, get settled in, and not get stuck being on the outside looking in. But these athletes don't control the travel restrictions. COVID-19 is basically a sliding curve that's dictating things. But to worry about that now in the month of June is a little bit premature. I think I'd start getting more concerned when it's time to put the hammer down. And I think really for all the athletes, the original Olympia date is the time you have to put the hammer down. So 3 months before the Olympia for the athletes is where I would really want to see where we stand in terms of the ability to travel the world.
Yeah. I just hope this year was an anomaly for, on every level, and that we get back to business as usual. The world gets back to normal next year, because, man, we can't keep living like this. This is ridiculous.
I think the only sense of normalcy right now is that Jake Wood is committed to putting this contest on the same way that Dana White was with his UFC fights. And thank God, because if this was being run by the prior administration, it would have been a business move, and they probably would have scrapped it, and we wouldn't be talking about the Olympia.
Right.
So this gives not only the athletes hope, the fans hope, the media hope that we'll be at a time right before the holidays where we can celebrate that we've survived this. If I'm an athlete, if I'm a bodybuilder right now, it's just a matter of being able to block out all the noise, the politics, the presidency, the racial divide in the world, the economic situation, because so many people have lost jobs, businesses have closed, things aren't even coming back. the ones that are able to block all the noise out and just do the business, they may be really rewarded come the month of December, because they have the ability to, focus and channel it all into this visual that could take them and launch them in the year 2021 into a different stratosphere. So we're all keeping our fingers crossed for that Olympia to happen. And the only thing we can do on the Olympia committee is to pretend as if this is not happening. This COVID, it's business as usual. We aren't going to have an expo. We did pick out a location at the Sands Convention. We did bring on Tim Gardner to be the new director of that. Dan Solomon has not let up off of this promotion of the Mr. Olympia competition. And we're going to do everything we can to put on the best product, and maybe even include a pay-per-view component so that, the fans around the world can see not just the contest, but some of the other things that we have. And, of course, we got Shaquille O'Neal as our ambassador. Things are moving forward, Ron. Nothing's slowing down.
Right on. And, let's add in a couple more great things that have changed for this year. We're back on the Strip at Planet Hollywood.
Massive.
We've been off the Strip for like 12 years or something like that.
I think it was 2006 or 2005 when we moved over there.
Wow. So, 15 years we've been way off the Strip at the Orleans. Now we're back. Central location. The Ms. Olympia is back this year after 6, 7, 8 years away. It's been a long
last
time.
Time we saw Kai Greene, 2014, I believe it was.
Yeah. So, man, this is, props to Jake Wood, because I think the easiest thing he could have done was say, you know what, guys, let's forget about it for this year. We'll try again next year. Like so many businesses did, they just postponed or say we're not gonna have our season this year. A lot of sporting organizations did that, but to Jake's credit, he's decided, he's committed, he's doing this, he's putting it on. The show's gonna go on. It's gonna be better than ever. And wow, I take my hat off to the guy. He's doing good things for us.
Yeah, and I can tell you that with the Miss Olympia coming back, Adela Garcia coming back, 8 Olympia fitness titles. Oksana coming out of retirement. She has 4 Miss Olympia fitness championships. Whitney Jones defending her 2 fitness Olympia titles. And then all the other fitness girls. The fitness division is going to be off the hook. Flex Lewis moving up from the 212, vacating that and coming out of retirement for the Open. There's another opportunity for history to be made in the Open category. The men's classic physique, Chris Bumstead knocking off Breon Ansley. Was it a fluke? I mean, the only way that's going to be answered is if we go to the Olympia competition in December. And what are you going to say about Shanique Grant, Sid Gillen, Latoria Watts? I mean, it's ridiculous. In the bikini, I mean, that championship could change hands every single year. I think her name is Elisa Pacini. She won it from Brazil. I mean, these Brazilians are coming out. I think there were 5 of the top 6 girls from Brazil.
Yes, they were.
So, the things that we remember, right? I mean, the stage is set, and they've all got a little bit extra reprieve due to the virus. So, if this thing blows out and it's gone and we're rid of it in the month of August, December is going to look like a beautiful celebration, and I'm going to be right there in the thick of it.
I just want to mention my guy, George Peterson, the Bull. He's going to be very, very exciting at the 212 Olympia, because he was struggling for years to suck down to 192, losing a lot of muscle in the process. I'm very excited. We'll see him first in Tampa, and then I think he's doing New York Pro.
Yeah. I remember, I think he won the Arnold Classic in one year, and I said, dude, you got to go up, man. So that's going to be exciting to see him in the 212. Kamal El Garni, he's one of the quieter guys. We haven't heard a lot from him. He's got to get here from England via Libya. He's Libyan. But he that's a title he's going to have to get through Derek Lunsford. And now you throw in George. So the 212 is going to be they're all going to be crazy. I mean, this is a year that we should be excited. So with the uncertainty of how COVID-19 is working, to know that the Olympia is coming December 16th to the 20th is something that, you can look forward to. That's the one thing I feel like out of all this madness in 2020, we're going to have that to salvage the balance of this year.
Yeah, because I mean, we were all worried, very concerned for a while. They're not going to have the Olympia this year, no Olympia. We were freaking out. I was freaking out because that's how we end our year. That's our big deal. We all get together and we crown the world champions. And if that had been canceled for this year, but thank God it's going on. The show's going on. And I think the move to put it toward the end of December was brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
Gives us the best possible chance to have a successful outcome on all the levels.
This is the 56th year
Wow.
of the Mr. Olympia. It started in 1965, won by Larry Scott. Brandon Curry represents the 15th title holder of the Sandow Trophy. I do a series on Digital Muscle called The Hunt for the Sandow. Today we'll be releasing the year 1992. We're counting it all the way forward to last year's Mr. Olympia. We're on Dorian Yates' first Mr. Olympia win in Helsinki, Finland, which, by the way, was the last year the Olympia was ever held outside the country.
Wow.
And that was the first year that he won it. There's a couple side notes. That's the year Mohammed bin Aziza competed in his last Olympia because he died 2 weeks later in Holland. It is also one of the last times that we saw Vince Taylor. He showed up on stage with the patch on his eye.
The eye patch.
Remember? Yeah, he had the eye patch. We called him the Pirate. He was coming off the 91 Olympia getting third, and he wound up hitting himself in the eye. He got sixth that year. And it was one of the Sonny Schmidt, the late Sonny Schmidt was in that competition.
That was Kevin's first Olympia. He took second place.
Yeah, and the comeback of the Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno. So the Hunt for the Sandow will be out online, on social media, on Digital Muscle, on YouTube, 1992. And, of course, that was the year Rodney King verdicts came down in Los Angeles, caught fire with the riots. So it's ironic that we are kind of reliving through those times right now. It's been a wild 2020, man. So sorry. It's been a wild ride in 2020, but counting down the Olympia on the Hunt for the Sandow has been something that kind of brings back some pretty fond memories. But I believe that the 2020 Olympia will salvage this year, and we'll forget about all this madness. Hopefully we'll find a way to come together, black, white, Republican, Democrat, and, you know, we're all bound through this business called bodybuilding, which Joe and Ben Weeder both founded, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. This will be my 32nd Olympia, consecutive 32nd Olympia.
Wow.
That I've been a part of in a row.
Yeah. Well, your first was 1988, Universal Amphitheater in Los Angeles, California. So,
yeah, I was a pace car on the racetrack. I actually I was participating. I was like a fan with a ticket, but I got to stand on stage and participate.
Yeah, but man, those were the days, man. Those were the days. Anyway,
yeah,
I don't want to get too nostalgic. Cool. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for your time. You know, we're getting slowly opening up. Things are starting to feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel in the world, in the USA, and everything. And having something like the Olympia, something far off to focus on, really helps, because there hasn't been a lot to look forward to lately. So we need this.
Yeah, and it comes right after Hanukkah. It comes right before Christmas, and then we have the new year to kick things off all over again. So make sure you check out my new show, Monday Night Muscle, on Digital Muscle with Bob Ciccarello.
Right.
I think we launch on this coming Monday.
Excellent. I like that. It's a cool name. I wish I'd thought of that. Monday Night Muscle. Monday Night Raw. That's different.
Monday Night Muscle.
Well, thank you. Shawn Ray, Editor-in-Chief of Digital Muscle, Hall of Fame IPB Pro League bodybuilder, competed in the Olympia, 20 times? 15 times?
13 times.
Top 5 every time, except for the first time, I believe.
Yeah, so, 12 years in a row.
The best Olympia record of anybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. So, yeah, check out his new show. I'm excited to see what that's going to be like, Monday Night Muscle on Digital Muscle. And thank you for your time, Shawn. Appreciate it. It's always a pleasure.
You got it, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ronline Report with this man, Sugar Shawn Ray. We'll see you next time.